From the very first moment Dexter Morgan appeared on screen, viewers were drawn not just to his meticulous actions, but to the inner workings of his mind. Unlike any character we had seen before, Dexter was a man living two lives simultaneously, a man whose outer calm and professional demeanor concealed a storm of obsession and darkness. He isn't just a character in a crime drama, he is a window into the human psyche, a study of moral ambiguity, trauma, and the impulses we all, in some way, suppress. What makes him so compelling is that he forces us to confront a difficult question. What if the line between good and evil isn't as clear-cut as society wants us to believe? Dexter's life is defined by duality. By day, he is a respected forensic analyst, dissecting evidence with precision, solving crimes, and upholding the very law he secretly undermines at night. He is polite, charming, almost painfully normal, a man who could be your neighbor, your coworker, your friend. But by night, he transforms into something entirely different. Driven by impulses he cannot ignore, Dexter hunts those who have committed the most heinous acts, meticulously planning their deaths, ensuring justice is served according to his own strict moral code. This dual existence is not merely a narrative device. It is a psychological phenomenon, an embodiment of the conflict between instinct and conscience, desire and restraint. What fascinates audiences is not just the thrill of Dexter's killings, but the way the series immerses us in his internal world. Through voiceovers, we hear his thoughts, his rationalizations, and his self-reflections. We experience his obsession with control, his compulsions, and his rituals. And yet we are also shown his moments of vulnerability, his longing for connection, his loyalty to his sister Deborah, and his attempts to nurture his son Harrison. This delicate balance between cold calculation and human emotion is what makes Dexter both terrifying and strangely relatable. He embodies a universal tension, the struggle to reconcile the darkest parts of ourselves with the need to function in society. To understand Dexter is to understand the psychology of duality. He is the perfect study in compartmentalization, the ability to separate different parts of the self to manage conflicting desires. Psychologists have long studied such traits in individuals with psychopathic tendencies, the capacity to mask one's darker impulses behind charm, intelligence, and social adaptability. Dexter does not merely hide his darkness. He channels it, structures it, and rationalizes it in a way that gives him purpose. He is a man who has turned chaos into ritual, impulse into justice, and obsession into a life defined by rules. And yet beneath all the planning, the codes, and the meticulous rituals, Dexter's mind is a battleground. The tension between who he is and who he must pretend to be creates a psychological pressure cooker, one that fuels both his brilliance and his compulsion. It is this tension that keeps audiences on edge, questioning every decision, every motive, and every moral choice. In Dexter, we see the ultimate exploration of human duality, the coexistence of light and shadow, love and destruction, empathy and detachment. In this series, Dexter Morgan is more than a fictional killer. He is a mirror reflecting the darkest impulses we rarely acknowledge, a psychological puzzle that challenges our understanding of morality, identity, and the mind itself. To truly delve into Dexter's world, we must step beyond the surface of his calm exterior, into the meticulously constructed labyrinth of his psyche, and explore the forces that drive a man to live one life by day and another by night. In doing so, we not only uncover the essence of Dexter Morgan, but also confront unsettling truths about the human capacity for both darkness and control. Dexter's story, like that of many who tread the line between normalcy and darkness, begins with trauma, the kind of event that reshapes the very architecture of a young mind. As a child, Dexter witnessed the horrific murder of his mother, a violent act so brutal that it became the defining moment of his life. In that instant, the world he knew, his sense of safety, trust, and love, was shattered, leaving behind a void filled with fear, anger, and confusion. But trauma is not just remembered. It is internalized, processed, and, in some cases, becomes the foundation upon which identity is built. For Dexter, this early encounter with extreme violence did not break him in the conventional sense. Instead, it rewired the way he experienced the world. fundamentally altering his emotional responses and shaping the path he would ultimately follow. Psychologists studying the roots of antisocial behavior and psychopathy often point to early childhood trauma as a critical factor. Repeated exposure to violence, neglect, or emotional instability can produce profound emotional detachment. In Dexter, this detachment manifests as a near total suppression of natural human feelings. Grief, fear, guilt, and even empathy are carefully buried beneath a surface of calm, precise control. Where most children might cry, panic, or seek comfort, Dexter learns to retreat inward, observing the world as a silent, calculating observer. His emotions are not absent. They are compartmentalized, locked away behind an inner wall he builds to survive. This wall becomes both his shield and his prison. It protects him from being overwhelmed by the chaos of life, yet it also isolates him from experiencing the full spectrum of human connection. Yet the suppression of emotion is not merely a defense mechanism, it is also a blueprint for the man he will become. By learning to regulate his internal world, Dexter gains an extraordinary level of self-control, a trait essential for the predator he will later be. His mind becomes a laboratory of observation, where every impulse is studied, every reaction measured, and every instinct either nurtured or suppressed. The violence he witnessed in childhood does not create a monster in the traditional sense. It creates a precise, disciplined individual who understands both the fragility of life and the mechanics of fear. In essence, his trauma fuels his intelligence, giving him an acute awareness of human behavior, a skill he will later use to anticipate, manipulate, and ultimately control those around him. But there is a deeper psychological layer to this early trauma. Children who experience extreme violence often develop a hyper-awareness of moral ambiguity, learning that the world is neither fair nor safe. Dexter internalizes this lesson, not as despair but as structure. He comes to understand that chaos exists everywhere, and that survival, and eventually mastery, requires emotional regulation, strict rules, and compartmentalization. In his mind, order becomes safety, and control becomes morality. This rigid framework allows him to navigate the world with extraordinary precision, even as the darkness within him grows stronger with age. What makes Dexter's childhood experience so psychologically compelling is that it highlights the paradox of trauma. It can both wound and empower. The same event that should have left him broken instead forged a mind capable of extraordinary focus, strategic thinking, and moral rationalization. Yet it also planted the seeds of isolation, alienation, and a compulsion to enact justice on his own terms. Where many survivors of trauma struggle to connect with others or regulate impulses, Dexter channels his inner chaos into meticulously structured rituals, ultimately laying the foundation for the vigilante serial killer we come to know and study. In examining Dexter's formative years, we see the intricate interplay between environment, experience, and psychology. Trauma alone did not make him a killer. It created the conditions for a highly disciplined mind, capable of suppressing human emotion, rationalizing violent urges, and compartmentalizing the self. This early detachment, combined with intelligence and observation, set him on a path that transformed a victim of circumstance into a master of his own dark universe. A universe defined by rules, control, and the relentless pursuit of a personal, albeit twisted, sense of justice. Dexter Morgan's childhood is not merely backstory, it is the blueprint for the dual life he will lead, the emotional architecture that allows him to survive, adapt, and ultimately thrive in a world he perceives as both cruel and corrupt. Despite the darkness that courses beneath his carefully maintained exterior, Dexter Morgan has mastered the art of blending into the ordinary world. By day, he is a forensic analyst for the Miami Metro Police Department, meticulous in his work, polite in his interactions, and seemingly compassionate to those around him. He is the very picture of normalcy, a man who could easily walk unnoticed through any social setting, engaging effortlessly with coworkers, friends, and family. But this outward calm is a mask, a psychopathic mask, as psychologists describe it, a carefully constructed facade designed to conceal impulses that, if exposed, would shock and terrify anyone who knew him. This mask is not simply about hiding his murderous tendencies. It is a sophisticated adaptation, a survival mechanism honed over decades, allowing Dexter to function within society while navigating his inner chaos. What makes Dexter's duality so compelling is the precision with which he maintains it. To the casual observer, he is entirely ordinary. He laughs, he mentors, he shares personal stories, he navigates relationships with a veneer of warmth and wit. Yet beneath that veneer, his mind is constantly calculating, observing, and analyzing. Every interaction is filtered through the lens of control and strategy. He compartmentalizes his life with surgical precision, creating separate mental compartments for family, work, and his nocturnal pursuit of justice. This ability to maintain dual identities simultaneously is what allows him to operate undetected, and it is also a hallmark of psychopathy. The capacity to appear socially normal while harboring dangerous tendencies that exist entirely outside societal constraints. Dexter's dual life fascinates audiences because it mirrors a tension that exists, to varying degrees, in all humans. The gap between the self we present to the world and the self we experience internally. Most people suppress thoughts, desires, or impulses that might be judged or rejected by others. But in Dexter, this gap is heightened to an extreme, and by observing him, viewers confront a reflection of their own inner contradictions. The tension between his outward morality and his hidden compulsion creates a captivating psychological interplay. We are both repulsed by his actions and intrigued by the logic and control with which he carries them out. Furthermore, this duality shapes the way Dexter interacts with the people he loves. He is capable of genuine attachment, particularly with his sister Deborah, and later with his son Harrison. Yet these connections are always tempered by the boundaries of his inner life. He loves selectively and cautiously, never fully allowing others to breach the inner walls he has built to contain the dark passenger within. Even his mentorship of colleagues and his interactions with romantic partners are subtly guided by the rules and restrictions he has imposed upon himself. Every conversation, every gesture, every decision is filtered through the dual lens of his outward persona and his inner compulsions. The complexity of Dexter's mask also lies in its sustainability. Maintaining a dual life is exhausting. It requires constant vigilance, forethought, and an unflinching attention to detail. Psychologists note that one of the hallmarks of individuals with high-functioning psychopathic traits is the ability to manage multiple identities without losing control. And Dexter exemplifies this perfectly. He not only manages to conceal his darkness, but he also uses it to enhance his public persona, appearing calm and competent in situations where most people would falter. This mastery of dual identity makes him simultaneously relatable and terrifying. A character who could, in theory, exist anywhere, unnoticed and undetected, blending seamlessly into the fabric of everyday life. Ultimately, Dexter's mask of normalcy is not merely a tactic for concealment, it is central to his identity. It allows him to survive, to navigate a world that would otherwise punish his impulses, and to pursue the compulsions that define him. Yet it also isolates him, creating a psychological tension that permeates every aspect of his life. This duality, the coexistence of a socially acceptable self and a hidden darker self, is at the heart of his allure. By examining Dexter's mask, we are not just studying a fictional serial killer. We are witnessing a profound exploration of human psychology, one that challenges our understanding of morality, identity, and the delicate balance between the light we show the world and the darkness we hide within ourselves. At the core of Dexter Morgan's psyche lies one of the most fascinating aspects of his character, the Code of Harry. This set of rules, instilled in him by his adoptive father, Harry Morgan, is deceptively simple on the surface. Kill only those who deserve it. Murderers, rapists, abusers, those who have slipped through the cracks of society and justice. Yet beneath this simplicity lies a profound psychological mechanism that shapes Dexter's every action. The Code of Harry is not merely a list of instructions, it is a moral architecture, a framework that allows Dexter to channel his darkest impulses into something structured, rational, and, in his own mind, ethically justifiable. It transforms what could be senseless, chaotic violence into a controlled, almost ritualized form of justice. Psychologically, the code serves as a masterstroke in rationalization. Dexter experiences urges that most people cannot even begin to comprehend. Compulsions that would, if acted upon without restraint, mark him as a dangerous, indiscriminate killer. Yet by imposing strict ethical boundaries on his behavior, he is able to reduce cognitive dissonance, the mental discomfort that arises when actions conflict with moral beliefs. In essence, the code allows Dexter to kill without compromising his own sense of self. Each murder becomes not a descent into chaos, but a calculated, deliberate act governed by rules, planning, and precision. This rationalization is what distinguishes Dexter from the stereotypical psychopathic killer. His actions, though horrific, are framed by a consistent ethical lens. Equally central to Dexter's psychology is the concept of the dark passenger, the inner force that drives him to murder. This is not merely a metaphorical expression of his urges, it is a psychological reality that mirrors the compulsions observed in real-life serial killers. The dark passenger represents the relentless, often uncontrollable desires that lie dormant within Dexter, demanding release. What makes him extraordinary is that he does not simply succumb to these impulses. He channels them, structures them, and gives them a form and purpose through the Code of Harry. In doing so, he transforms what could be chaotic, destructive urges into acts that are meticulously planned, highly controlled, and deeply ritualized. Ritual, in fact, is a defining feature of Dexter's killings. Each murder is preceded by careful preparation, selecting a victim, confirming their guilt, planning the method of execution, and preparing the crime scene. Every action is deliberate, every step measured. This ritualization provides not only control, but also psychological release. For Dexter, the act of killing is almost ceremonial, a way to contain and manage the internal chaos of the dark passenger. Psychologists studying serial killers have observed similar patterns. Ritualized behavior is a way to impose order on an otherwise uncontrollable psychological compulsion. It is a method of mastery, a way to navigate the tension between desire and morality. Moreover, the code and the rituals serve as a psychological anchor, allowing Dexter to maintain a sense of identity and integrity even as he commits acts that would horrify most people. Killing without a code would be purely destructive, an expression of primal chaos. But within the framework of Harry's rules, Dexter experiences not only control, but also purpose. Each murder is a statement, a reaffirmation of the order he imposes on his world, a way to enact justice where the legal system has failed. It is this blending of ethical justification and ritualized compulsion that makes Dexter's character so unique and psychologically complex. In studying Dexter, we see a perfect example of how structure can coexist with darkness. The Code of Harry is more than a set of rules. It is the scaffolding that supports his entire psychological universe. It allows him to navigate the moral and emotional tension of his dual life, to reconcile the human need for justice with the compulsive need to kill, and to maintain control over the dark passenger that drives him. Without this code, Dexter would be lost to chaos, a mind consumed by urges with no direction or limit. With it, he becomes a chilling study in self-discipline, moral rationalization, and ritualized violence, a man whose darkness is contained, measured, and terrifyingly deliberate. One of the most compelling aspects of Dexter Morgan's psychology is the paradox of his empathy. On the surface, Dexter is a cold, calculating figure, someone who meticulously plans and executes murders with surgical precision. Yet beneath this chilling exterior lies the capacity for genuine emotional connection. The key, however, is that his empathy is selective. Dexter chooses carefully whom he allows into his emotional world, and he draws invisible boundaries around those he can care for. His love for his sister Deborah, the protectiveness he feels toward his son Harrison, and the rare moments of understanding he extends toward victims of his chosen targets reveal a side of Dexter that is profoundly human. This selective empathy is a psychological phenomenon observed in certain individuals with psychopathic traits, people capable of attachment, loyalty, and moral reasoning, but only within strict, self-imposed limits. Dexter's selective empathy serves several purposes. Psychologically, it allows him to maintain a sense of connection and humanity without exposing himself to the emotional vulnerability that could destabilize his carefully constructed life. For example, his relationship with Deborah is a rare window into his capacity for love and selflessness. Yet even here it is tempered by the knowledge that revealing too much of his inner world could destroy the protective barriers he has built around the dark passenger. Similarly, his interactions with his son Harrison highlight the tension between instinct and morality. Dexter's desire to nurture and protect is genuine, but it is always filtered through the lens of his compulsions and his need for control. By carefully regulating the depth and intensity of his attachments, he creates a balance that allows him to function as both a father and a predator. Outside the boundaries of his selective empathy, Dexter reverts to cold logic, emotional detachment, and lethal calculation. Victims outside the scope of his code exist only as problems to solve, obstacles to overcome, or targets to eliminate. In these moments, his capacity for human connection is suspended entirely, replaced by the precision and focus of a methodical killer. This duality, the coexistence of empathy and amorality, creates a psychological tension that defines Dexter's character and heightens the intrigue for viewers. It is this balance between connection and detachment, between humanity and darkness, that makes him simultaneously terrifying and fascinating, a study in contradictions brought to life with nuance and detail. When compared to real-life serial killers, Dexter exhibits many familiar traits: high intelligence, early trauma, compartmentalized emotions, and ritualized behavior. These elements are common among individuals who commit serial violence. Yet Dexter differs in one crucial way: his ethical framework. While many killers act impulsively, indiscriminately, or purely for personal gratification, Dexter filters his violence through the moral lens of the Code of Harry. This selective morality allows him to rationalize his killings as acts of justice, turning a compulsive behavior into a controlled, almost principled endeavor. It is this combination of calculated violence and moral reasoning that elevates him from mere criminal to a complex, morally ambiguous archetype, the heroic serial killer. The paradox of Dexter's humanity is further magnified by the audience's response to him. We are simultaneously repulsed by his murders and drawn to his reasoning, fascinated by the meticulous care with which he enforces his personal code. In a sense, Dexter challenges our conventional understanding of morality and justice. He forces us to question whether evil is always absolute, whether the pursuit of justice can justify morally ambiguous actions, and whether empathy and darkness can coexist within a single individual. In exploring this tension, we gain a deeper understanding not only of Dexter himself, but also of the human capacity for complexity, contradiction, and moral flexibility. Ultimately, Dexter Morgan embodies a paradox at the heart of human psychology: the coexistence of love and violence, connection and detachment, morality and compulsion. His selective empathy reveals that even those capable of great darkness can possess moments of genuine humanity, while his ruthlessness reminds us that adherence to a personal moral code can coexist with acts that would horrify ordinary conscience. It is this delicate balance, this interplay of light and shadow, that makes Dexter one of the most psychologically compelling characters in modern television. A figure whose complexity challenges our assumptions, fascinates our curiosity, and leaves an enduring mark on our understanding of human nature. Ultimately, Dexter Morgan is far more than a fictional serial killer. He is a lens through which we can examine some of the most complex aspects of human psychology. His story offers profound insights into how trauma, morality, obsession, and emotional regulation interact to shape a person's behavior. By observing Dexter, we witness the long-lasting impact of childhood trauma on adult life. The murder of his mother and the early exposure to violence did more than scar him emotionally. They fundamentally shaped the architecture of his mind. Dexter's suppressed emotions, compartmentalized identity, and meticulous control over his urges are not merely quirks of character. They are manifestations of a psyche molded by pain, loss, and the necessity of survival. His life illustrates how trauma can lead to both resilience and darkness, showing that the human mind adapts in ways that are simultaneously fascinating and unsettling. But Dexter also illuminates the mechanisms by which the mind rationalizes morally unacceptable impulses. The Code of Harry, the framework he uses to guide his actions, is a psychological tool that allows him to reconcile his compulsions with his sense of morality. In doing so, Dexter demonstrates the human capacity for rationalization, the ability to impose ethical structures on behavior that might otherwise be deemed reprehensible. This balance between impulse and principle, chaos and order, is central to his enduring intrigue. It challenges viewers to question the nature of morality itself. Is evil intrinsic, or can it be reframed when guided by rules and intention? Dexter's carefully crafted code provides an unsettling answer: that moral boundaries are not always fixed, and that even acts society condemns as abhorrent can, under certain lenses, be justified, calculated, and controlled. Equally compelling is Dexter's exploration of duality, the coexistence of empathy and amorality. His selective compassion for his sister Deborah, his son Harrison, and the victims of his chosen targets underscores that the human capacity for empathy is not binary. One can care deeply for certain individuals while remaining emotionally detached, even lethal, toward others. Dexter's paradoxical nature demonstrates that morality and compulsion, love and destruction, light and darkness, are not mutually exclusive. In watching him navigate this tension, we are forced to confront uncomfortable questions about ourselves. How do we compartmentalize our own impulses and emotions? How much of what we consider normal behavior is simply a socially acceptable mask hiding desires, fears, or instincts we suppress? Dexter's story also highlights the ways obsession and ritual can provide control over internal chaos. Each meticulous plan, each ritualized killing, and each adherence to the Code of Harry is a method of self-regulation, a mechanism to navigate an otherwise overwhelming psychological landscape. This mirrors real-life behaviors observed in individuals who channel compulsions through structure and discipline, offering viewers a rare glimpse into the human need to create order from internal disorder. In this sense, Dexter is both horrifying and strangely relatable, a reflection of the lengths to which humans will go to reconcile instinct with intellect, emotion with reason, and morality with survival. Perhaps the most lasting aspect of Dexter Morgan's legacy is his paradoxical nature. He is a character capable of profound love and unspeakable violence, of deep connection and utter detachment, of morality and obsession coexisting in tension. This duality is what makes him not just compelling entertainment, but a psychological study. By exploring his mind, we are forced to examine our own, the impulses we conceal, the rationalizations we construct, and the masks we wear to navigate society. Dexter challenges us to ask difficult questions. What would we do if confronted with desires or instincts beyond our control? How far would we go if morality were subjective, shaped by personal codes rather than societal laws? And most importantly, how well do we truly understand the hidden layers of our own psyche? Dexter Morgan doesn't merely entertain, he provokes, teaches, and challenges. He reminds us that human nature is rarely simple, that morality is rarely absolute, and that the capacity for both darkness and control exists within us all. In the end, Dexter is a mirror reflecting not only the mind of a fictional serial killer, but also the complexities, contradictions, and hidden depths of the human experience. His story leaves an indelible mark on television and psychology alike, a chilling, mesmerizing, and unforgettable exploration of what it truly means to be human.